Welcome to the Daily Deuce. I'm Gary Graves from just outside cold and rainy Louisville, Kentucky, and in Maryland, where I presume the weather is much better, even though it's colder than you like. John Webster. John, how you doing today?
Gary, I'm doing real good, man. It's starting to rain around here this evening, probably be raining again tomorrow. Real cold in the morning, about 50 degrees during the day. I still don't like it because it's not 95 or 100. So, but
Hmm.
it's still a good day. Still another great week in sports. I look forward to the conversation again today. I know we're going to do a little bit about the NFL. We're going to do some stuff with the NCAA and talking about Maryland and Mike Loxley. We're going to talk about college football. And if time permits, I'm going to ask you a question at the end, Gary, and you may think I've lost my mind. But
Okay.
hear the question now. But with that being said, we're going to do something a little different today. Normally we do NFC East. I'm going to do quick NFC East for you, then we're going to just talk about the NFL. NFC East. Giants lose, or did the Giants not play?
Giants, I don't think they played. I think they had a bye.
Okay, Giants won because they didn't play. Cowboys. Cowboys won. Eagles won. And I'm going to let you finish your rhyme. You said something to me where the NFC East is a blank and the Washington Commanders look like blank. Do you want to fill those
Doormats.
in? Huh?
Doormats. Doormats. Everybody is wiping their feet on the Commanders now. I mean, I didn't see the Dolphins game in Barcelona, but I mean that was Barcalusa as far as I'm concerned for the Commanders. John, I never thought it would go off the rails like this. Yeah, I agree with you that they would have a worse record than last year and be a better team. They're neither right now. They have neither, and in the NFC East, I mean, there's a very good chance that they could be looking up at the rest of the division, even with the Giants. There's really no discussion about the NFC East anymore, as far as I'm concerned, because Philadelphia hasn't even played its best game, but they're still leading the division. They still have 8 wins. They only scored 16 points against the Lions and still won the game. Everybody's wondering what's wrong with the Eagles. Oh, they're not dominant or whatever. They're 8-2. So end of discussion on that. Jalen Hurts is still getting it done. AJ Brown is still getting the ball despite all the stuff about the offense and supposedly he's unhappy. He's still getting the ball. They're still winning games. But I mean that defense really is the story in Philadelphia. And what does defense win? Championships. What did defense do for the Eagles last year against the Chiefs? They won a championship. They didn't run one blitz and sack Patrick Mahomes 6 times. We could get into the Chiefs falling really. I mean, it's not even a fall at this point. They have hurtled from grace down to mediocrity. A lot of time left in the season for them to recover, but they're not going to capture or excuse me catch the 9-2. I think Denver Broncos, who just continue to win games, comeback fashion, gutting out, just gutting out games. No matter what you might think about Sean Payton or Bo Nix as quarterback, but he's getting it done with him. He's looking correct about the Russell Wilson situation. That's a whole other discussion, especially since Russell Wilson is withering on the vine in New York. But I mean, I look at Denver being 9-2. I'm trying to think of who else is 9-2 that we forgot. Oh
New
God.
England Patriots are
Oh,
nine and
that's
two.
right. Yeah, your New England Patriots. Yeah, I mean that's incredible to me from a standpoint that I expected them to improve with Mike Vrabel as coach. Um, again, I'm still trying to figure out what went wrong down in Nashville, with the Titans. But he's closed that book and he's opened up a beautiful new one in New England to the point where I'm beginning to think that they have that look. But before we get into who's the best team, let's talk about this. Let's remember this. Philadelphia has 8 wins. The LA Rams have 8 wins. Indianapolis Colts, another resurgent team, has 8 wins. Chicago Bears have 7. I think Jacksonville might have. I think they have 6 or 7. I've kind of lost track with Jacksonville, but they. I mean, if it's never been more wide open to me. And again, do I think Philadelphia is the best team in the NFC? At this point, I would probably say yeah, but even though they haven't necessarily looked like it. Um, Chicago's coming on. Chicago's getting a lot of confidence, gaining a lot of confidence every week. The Rams lost a game that they shouldn't have, but again, I think that's another team, with 8 wins. And oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry, I misspoke. They won. That's right, because they beat Seattle. They beat Seattle. But
The
again,
Rams won.
yeah, the
They're
Rams
good.
won. And
And
there's
Philadelphia is
no
eight
clear
two.
favorite right now. There's no clear
In
favorite.
the NFC you're talking about?
What's that?
You mean in the NFC there's no clear favorite?
I don't think
Or
there's a
period.
clear favorite because, again, Philadelphia's defense has kept them in a lot of games, but somebody's going to figure it out. They're going to have an off game. They might take their eye off the ball and maybe lose a game that they shouldn't, maybe to the Dallas Cowboys. That game the other night against Detroit, in some ways, they probably should have lost that game. We could get into another discussion about the officiating, but again, they are getting it done, even though it isn't pretty, and it doesn't have to be pretty. And that's where people need to get off this idea that they have to, come out and look like last year's team. All they got to do is be 1 point better than the opposition, and that's what they're doing. You notice I didn't talk about my Green Bay Packers, who the Eagles have beaten. Of course, they've beaten the Detroit Lions. The two to contend in the NFC North. And again, here you are. You have the Chicago Bears leading it. I mean, it's just this is this is a year of redemption for a lot of teams and for a lot of quarterbacks. And I just don't see a clear favorite. It's really great that it's this competitive, but I'm still waiting to see somebody really rise above the pack. If I had to pick a team that has that kind of momentum, I would probably say the Denver Broncos. They really are looking good with Sean Payton and Bo Nix, as I said at the beginning. Your thoughts?
Well, couple things I'll say. Philadelphia right now has shown that they are the best in NFC, 8-2. Still a lot of football to be played. I'm not sure anybody's going to catch them in the Eastern Division, but when the playoffs come, I think the Rams are a good matchup against them. I think Tampa Bay is a good matchup against them. Your Green Bay Packers. I think a lot will tell with them over the next 3 weeks. They play Minnesota, Detroit on Thanksgiving, and then Chicago. I think that'll tell a lot about it. Two of those games at home, they go to Detroit on Thanksgiving Day. Green Bay is a team that I don't think, and you know it better than me, Gary, I don't think Green Bay plays a complete game. I think they consistently play to the level of their opponent. I don't think
Agreed.
they lost to Cleveland. There's no reason why they should have lost to Cleveland. And this game last week, the Giants did play last week. Jameis Winston quarterback. famous
Oh, that's
Jameis.
right. That's right.
So, and the Green
That's
Bay
right.
Packers beat them. You know,
That's right.
Jameis.
Barely.
Jameis threw that interception at the end. He had played really well most of the day. He threw the interception at the end, and Green Bay won. So, the Giants lost, Commanders lost, Philly won, Dallas wins. I would say this about Dallas. This will be an interesting week for me to see Dallas. Let me tell you why.
We still keep
The
talking
last
about the
time they
NFC
blew out
East,
a team,
man.
huh?
We still keep talking about the NFC East. That one's a wrap, man. That one's
Well,
a
I'm talking
wrap.
about now. I'm not talking about. You're right. I'm not talking about NFC East. I'm talking about playoffs. I'm
Okay.
talking about Dallas
Playoffs.
still have, huh?
Playoffs.
Yeah, I think Dallas. I think it'd be a key game for them because the last time they blew a team out was the New York Jets. Then they followed that up with laying an egg against the Carolina Panthers. So they
Mhm.
blew out the Raiders. Now they play Philadelphia. Can they put two good games together? That's my only point. I don't think Dallas is going to come back and win the NFC East, but I think Dallas can still get in the playoffs. Um,
Mhm.
uh, and I still say Tampa Bay, the Rams, Philadelphia. Those are the teams that I see in the NFC. I think Carolina is leading in the NFC South. I think they are, but I don't see them going far in the playoffs if they make the playoffs. Um, Let me see. Let's look real quick, Gary.
What's the key
No, I'm
statement
sorry. It's Tampa
that you
Bay.
just made with about
Huh?
the Carol? What's the key statement that you made about the Carolina Panthers?
I was incorrect. They're not in first place. Tampa
No, but
Bay's in
they're only a
first place.
half game. They're only a half game back, and nobody, and not even Carolina, not even a player in Carolina would have expected them to be in the hunt for a playoff spot. Let alone win 6 games, but to be only a half game behind the Bucks in that division. Um, I mean, you just have to give credit to the coach and how he's handled that quarterback situation or
They're doing
quarterback
well.
situation.
They're doing well. One other team I have not mentioned yet, Chicago Bears. They are about a half game in front of Green Bay. I think what'll tell for them, they play the day after Thanksgiving at Philadelphia. I think that'll tell a lot about them and where they are as a team. But they're having another great year too. So, and the crazy thing is, guess who really is on the outside looking in?
Hmm. I was going to say Green Bay, but Detroit, Detroit,
Detroit's on the outside looking in.
yeah,
Who would ever thunk? Who would ever thought? Now let's talk about this AFC real quick. New England's playing really well. In first place, 9-2. Vrabel has done a great job turning that franchise around. You mentioned you don't know what went wrong at Tennessee. I think probably what went wrong for him is what goes wrong for a lot of people. You stay a long time and people stop listening to you. I don't
mm,
say that as a fault of Vrabel. I think that's just humanality. Um, the AFC North. Beware of the Baltimore Ravens. They are coming. They
yeah,
are coming. I think they start off 1-5. They've now won 4 straight. They're 5-5. I think this week they play Cincinnati, if I'm not mistaken. No, they play the Jets. They
yeah,
play the
yeah,
Jets. So
yeah.
I think New England plays Cincinnati. I think. I don't know. I'll
And,
get it
and
right in a
and and
second,
nobody
Gary.
will be
I'll get it right
watching.
now.
And
Huh?
nobody will be watching, even in Cincinnati. Uh, just to
Well,
show
matter of
you.
fact, New England plays Cincinnati.
Oh,
So
oh,
so
trap. That's a
we'll see
trap
how that
game.
goes.
That
I
that
think
that
if the
that's a
Ravens
trap
continue
game.
on the path they're going, I think they win the AFC North. I think
Hmm.
they can be a dangerous team in the playoffs because I think they're going to become hungrier because they've gone through a lot in the regular season. Denver has surprised everybody. They're 9-2, just like New England's 9-2, best record in the AFC. The Chargers have a chance to catch them, but I don't think they will. The Chargers are 7-4, 2 games back. Really, right now it's 3 games back because I think Denver beat the Chargers. So Indianapolis is 8-2. Jacksonville 6-4. So I think in the AFC, until you knock out the champion, they are still the champion. You got to knock out Kansas City. Even though Kansas City's on the outside looking in, I don't think they'll win the division, but I can still see them slipping in as a wild card. So we'll see what's going to happen with that. A lot of good football to be played. A lot of interesting scenarios. Um, to me, doesn't matter who you root for. Just watch some good football, man. It's really, really heating up. Really heating up.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think for me, the two teams I'm really going to be watching over the second half of the season in the AFC will be the Ravens and really the Colts. For the Colts, I want to see if they can sustain it. I mean, they have looked good. You know, again, they've resuscitated Daniel Jones's career. They've got a solid running game. Actually, they have a pretty solid defense too. I mean, they're not giving up a whole lot of points. It's just, again, when do they wake up one Sunday morning and realize we're the Indianapolis Colts? You know, it's going too good. We have to find a way to give it away, like they've done several times when they had a chance to either keep a team out of the playoffs or qualify for the playoffs outright. Um, again,
As Eli Manning has said so lovingly, we look at Daniel Jones, who is probably, as Eli Manning said, the best quarterback in the history of the Indianapolis Colts.
that's wait a minute, hold up. I wonder how his brother feels about that one.
Well, I don't know. He was sitting right
Maybe
there when
that's
he
why
said
he
it.
said it. Oh man, you know, and Eli Manning is, I'm sorry, and Peyton Manning will always have scoreboard. He says, you know something, we both won two Super Bowls, and I'm in the Hall of Fame, and you ain't. You know,
Yeah. I think right now, Daniel Jones, I give him credit. He's having a great bounce back year. He does look like he is the next coming of Johnny Unitas, So,
yeah. I mean, he's
he
healthy, and he's in a system that works for him. Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, and the one thing I will say, to his credit, despite all the changes that he has gone through with different coaches and different offensive coordinators, here he is with a whole new team, and he's playing his best football. I mean, just has hit the ground running, and well, back in the pocket, he's hitting the ground running. His athleticism is what we've always seen from him. We saw it when he was at Duke. We saw it his first year with the Giants before he got hurt. First year and a half before he got hurt, and he's really doing what we expected him to do. And I think they have given him freedom to kind of run that offense the way that he wants to run it in that his thing is extending plays. I always say, John, a good quarterback just doesn't have to stand in the pocket. He has to extend the play, whether it's Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen or Jalen Hurts. If you could extend a play and not be a statue, not be a target, I think that helps you be effective. And he's just a strong guy with a strong arm. He's making the right reads, and again, he's got a running game to complement him, and good for him, and really good for that Colts franchise because anytime I get to see Blue the mascot do his antics, man, on the sideline or in the stands or on Facebook, it's a good day. You have to see Blue the mascot and the pies in the face. Both of us as Three Stooges fans, we love a good pie gag, right? So, there you have it. There you have it. Well,
Well,
John, let's move down a level and talk about the team right over there near you over in College Park. Um, Maryland. let's see, how many they've lost, what, five in a row, six in a row? No, five in a row.
Six.
No, it's
Six.
now six. Okay. Well, in spite of that, Coach Mike Loxley, who was really on a hot seat, I'd say before the Illinois game, at which they lost, was given a reprieve this week. The school announced that, well, it's been reported that the school has said he will be the coach for 2026 with the pledge to inject more money into the NIL program and provide more resources, which I guess is a good thing. And I guess from Maryland's standpoint, it 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 maintains continuity and hopefully they can retain some players. The most important being Malik Washington, who I think has shown promise as a freshman, and he's the kind of guy that you really can build around. I really would like to see how it pans out with a second year or more there, because I mean you look at the quarterbacks that Maryland has had, Tagovailoa, for one, who thrived in that system before he exhausted really his real eligibility and got out of there, transferred somewhere else. Won three bowl games for him. Uh, I- you know, I'm not going to say that Loxley is a good coach. I think he got off to a good start at Maryland, a program that really he didn't face a very high bar. You have to get to what you have to get to six wins to be bowl eligible. He's won seven, 8 games, and really, I think that that's probably as good as it's going to get for that program in that league that they shouldn't be in. That's a whole other discussion as well. And you have to be realistic. They are not going to contend in the Big Ten ever. Yes, I said it. I'm a Maryland grad. I can say that. I know their limitations in that league. John, we've watched enough college football over the years to know that there are just some teams, Indiana notwithstanding, that are probably gonna, if they get to 9, 10 wins or something, maybe go 500 in the Big Ten. That's as good as it's ever really going to get. It's going to be hard to get past Ohio State and Michigan. Now I guess you got to deal with USC, Washington, UCLA, and of course now the surprise team Indiana. And if you're Maryland, I always feel like at best you're probably going to be a Midland program. But right now, you need to get back to being a winning program. You got to be a 500 program. Do I think they're going to get there when they face Michigan on Saturday? No, 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 no. All they have to do is win one more game. Yeah, the Michigan game could be ugly, much like the Illinois game was. But I'm going to say it like this: if if Maryland is sincere about giving him resources and injecting money into the NIL program, which is everything, and of course, he was honest enough to say before the season, I lost the locker room because of NIL. That was really the preseason story. So if he can get that kind of commitment from donors, granted, it might be like some arm twisting, but if they want a winning program, instead of like trying to look for the sexy pick out there, and of course I think their options were reduced significantly when James Franklin was hired by Virginia Tech, and I think that really can shake up the ACC in a big way, because I think he's a proven coach. He can recruit in that area. Uh, yeah, I want to say that there's some vulnerability in that conference because of Clemson's stumbles this year. Florida State stumbles. I'm not sure if SMU is really the strongest team in that conference. I'm not even sure whether Miami is the strongest team. I mean, it's open, but again, those are the teams that everybody is picked to look for. But back to Maryland, they have to get to a point where they can show they can consistently win 6, 7 games and at least try to go 500 in the Big Ten. And that's their high water mark.
Fair statements, Gary. I just pulled up their schedule next year. They got 12 games. 7 of them are home games. They
Hmm.
have Hampton, Virginia Tech, Illinois, Penn State, Rutgers, UCLA, and Wisconsin at home. They go on the road against UConn, Nebraska, Ohio State, Purdue, and USC. There's no Oregon on the schedule. There's no Michigan on the schedule.
I forgot about
So,
Oregon in that conference. So yeah,
yeah,
that's the team that I feel like could end up winning that. And I'm an Ohio State fan saying that.
yeah. I difficult such scenario. I think with Loxley, I hope he gets it done next year because I think he was very vocal that he needed more NIL money. I don't disagree with that, but you have to produce once you get that money. With anything you get, you got to produce if you've been asking for it. Hopefully Malik Washington will stay and come back next year. I think Loxley does a good job with quarterbacks. You go all the way back when he was offensive coordinator at Alabama, did a very good job. And as you said, Tagovailoa, I know I messed his name up tremendously. Um, he did an excellent job with him. So I guess what I'm saying for Maryland, and I've said this to you, Gary, Maryland, if they win 8, 9 games in football, I think that's where they are. I think that's a very good season for them. If every now and then they can beat Ohio State or Michigan or one of these schools, I think that's really good. I think this is a schedule next year. They can do some things. I think maybe you can beat Penn State next year. Rutgers comes here, UCLA comes here, Wisconsin. Those are all, in my opinion, winnable games next year. Keep in
Mm.
mind this Maryland team that is there now. If you get them all back, that's really important because they're a very young team. Loxley has had them playing well. I think the unfortunate thing that happened is when they were playing Washington, they were up 20-0, and ever since that game, the wheels have come off. I think if
Mm.
they win that game, I think they would probably right now be about instead of 4-6, I think they'd be 7-3. I
Yeah,
think they would be a lot better off.
yeah. I mean,
But
you
we
figure they've lost 3 games. I think it was 3 straight games, in fact, where they had a lead going into the fourth quarter. So it's a matter of finishing. That's the problem. And I guess that's the thing with a young team. They've got to learn how to finish. They're good enough, they're eager enough to get these leads and make it look good. But, again, you got to win the fourth quarter. And
well,
that's what they have to do. They have to learn how to do that. Now they have to learn how not to lose because that losing mentality, once it gets in there, it's hard to get it out.
we'll see, man. We will see. Two other things I want to say real quick. Two more. One, college football playoff rankings come out. How far does Alabama drop?
I think Alabama pretty much drops out of the top 10. Um,
Wow. Gary Graves, say it again, man.
yeah, I mean,
Really?
I really do believe that they fall out of the top 10 because I mean, right now, 3 losses. What is it? Yeah, they have 3 losses.
No, they got two.
Oh, it's just two. Wait, okay. Okay, yeah, okay, yeah. So they lost to Oklahoma. So okay, yeah, it's just two.
They lost
Okay,
Oklahoma and Florida State.
yeah, Oklahoma and Florida State, and they had done a good job of making and of course that was non-league. They had done a good job of making that Florida State loss at the beginning of the season a distant memory. Oklahoma reminded them that yeah, we might be a second year SEC team, but yeah, we got a pretty good program. With Brett Venables is doing a great job there. I think that that's probably one of the most dangerous teams right now in the SEC. Uh, the thing about two losses, again, it's reason why I feel like they'll drop out is because it's when you lose now it's not just that you have two losses, which I think probably keeps them in a discussion, but in terms of top 10 and making sure that you can be, in that upper part of the bracket, when you lose a game in November and these rankings become more and more important as you get especially into rival week, which is next week, and trying to decide the conference. That a loss like that, I think, really hurts their playoff chances in terms of being one of those teams that was hoping to play at home. And yes, they beaten Georgia. Georgia Georgia is still Georgia. Oklahoma is playing well. Texas, well, next question with Texas. That's the way it is in the SEC. Alabama, I still think is a force, but right now, unless somebody really comes on, I mean, we even thinking about Vanderbilt as a team that can do some damage in there, but they're not in that top part either. So I would say the SEC championship just looks like a matchup between Oklahoma and Georgia at this point. And Alabama, if they can hold serve for the rest of the season, they've got a good chance to make the playoffs. But I don't think they're going to be one of the top 10 teams, or excuse me, top 12 teams in there. They're probably going to be in that bottom half of the bracket, and they're probably going to have to go on the road. And I think there's going to be a three-loss team in that playoff bracket. Not from the
Okay,
SEC, but I think in general.
we'll see. Well, it's good. You're right. It's a very good possibility because the ACC with Duke and everything. So it's a very good possibility.
Mhm.
Last thing I'm going to ask you about. Are you sitting down?
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Here we go. Right now, the Commanders are in a very precarious situation. Their best player is who? Jaden Daniels. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
With him being the best player, would you also agree there are a lot of things that the Commanders still need at other places on the team?
Oh, definitely. I mean, look at that defensive line.
I think Jaden Daniels is one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL. I think he's great. I think he's only going to get better. That's my personal opinion. But I think you can win with a good quarterback, not just a great quarterback. Which leads me to my question to you. Would you trade Jaden Daniels to the Cleveland Browns for Myles Garrett, a draft pick, and a defensive back?
Oh,
Draft picks and a defensive back. Before you tell me I'm crazy, think about it.
oh.
Did I get you with this one, Gary? Did I get you with this one?
Well, you got me with the first statement about Jaden Daniels being one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and I'm like John right now. He's an incomplete because he's injured. He gets
He
he
is
gets hurt a lot.
incomplete. I agree with you. He's incomplete, but he is very good, and I think he's a very good quarterback. I think he can be a tremendous quarterback in this league. I think he's a difference maker. But do you need a difference maker and a very good quarterback to win a championship?
No, no. And I mean his John, we could look at the history with just our Washington the former Washington Redskins. Okay. Joe Theismann was a star quality quarterback. Doug Williams was a journeyman quarterback who had a hell of a game. And God, I'm trying to remember which Super Bowl it was.
It
Not
was
not
against
seven.
Denver. It was against Denver.
Yeah, against Denver, but I've forgotten the number now. but I
This
mean,
will
yeah,
help you on
he
the number. This will help you on the number. You and I both still had hair on our heads.
that's true. But again, here's the thing about Doug Williams. In his defense, when the USFL folded and they got him in the dispersal draft, and I
Mm-hmm.
remember thinking it's like he and Joe Gibbs have history. Doug Williams was still a serviceable quarterback, a very serviceable quarterback, and I thought he was tailor-made for that offense. I said they have a chance to not just win a Super Bowl, but really just go to a Super Bowl. I was really tempering my expectations because at that time the New York Giants were the dominant team. That was who they had to chase. Well, they did it. I mean, they got past the Giants, and the thing I'm trying to remember is how much of that was Jay Schrader and how much of that was Doug Williams. But I'll say it like this: he won a Super Bowl. He was a journeyman. It showed that, okay, he won. Joe Gibbs could win with two different quarterbacks. And then, of course, along comes Mark. Well, no, that's what I said. I was getting to it. At the time, you just think, okay, he's won two Super Bowls with two different quarterbacks. And then along comes Mark Rippon, who was a serviceable quarterback. But John, that 1991 season, he was definitely the best quarterback in the NFL. I think he was only sacked, what, 11 times or something
11 times.
in a
11
in
times.
a 16 game season. I mean, he had a clean uniform for much of that season. He found receivers. The Super. I mean, they won the Super Bowl over Buffalo. And again, he wasn't a star quality quarterback, but he was serviceable. But they made him look like the best. I can run off some other names of serviceable quarterbacks that have won Super Bowls: Jim Plunkett, Trent Dilfer,
Joe
Brad
Flacco.
Johnson. Yeah, what another example of really probably an average quarterback that if you give him the tools and give him the support, he can look like a star. There was no doubt the year that the Ravens won the Super Bowl that he really, there's no doubt he was one of the best quarterbacks in the league that year, and he got the job done, defense or not. He was. And given the
And I
keys to the
guess,
offense, they made it work for him, and he showed what he can do.
I think, and I hear you and I agree with you. And I want people to understand I'm not saying you trade Jaden Daniels because he's terrible. I'm not
No,
saying
I
that.
know
I,
you're talking about getting defensive guys in here to shore up one of your weaknesses. John, I don't know if I would make that trade right now. I just
well,
don't. And
the
I don't
other
think
thing is,
Cleveland would make that trade either because their quarterback situation is a mess. If you think Jaden Daniels gets hurt in Washington, wait till he goes to Cleveland
that's
with
the,
that line.
I,
They've
I'm
got
not
four
wishing any,
quarterbacks that have been hurt. I wouldn't send him
I'm
up
not
there.
wishing anything on Cleveland, but when you have, I hate using this word on a family show. When you have a sucker, you sometimes you take advantage of it. And I don't think their organization is one that would look at it and do the right thing. I think it reminds me of Red Auerbach. Red Auerbach always swindled somebody in a deal. He always swindled somebody. Danny Ainge started doing the same thing because he learned from Red Auerbach. Sucker's a terrible word. Swindle. I won't use the word swindle. I think the Commanders
Fleece. Always like the term fleece.
that's even better. I think the
Yeah.
Commanders front office could fleece the Cleveland Browns front office. I think now Miles Garrett makes a ton of money. You'd have to work that out, but I think you could. I think there's more of an upside, and with Jaden Daniels being younger, I think you could get two players. I think you get about 3 or 4 picks with it as well too. I want a defensive lineman that would be Miles Garrett. I want one of the defensive backs. That's what I would want, and I want 3 picks. And I think they can move in the right direction. Now, the thing I'm saying is this: that's a big loss. Jaden Daniels is an excellent quarterback, But now I'm going to go with Marcus Mariota because I'm going to keep Cliff Kingsbury. I'm not trying to change the offense. The other thing, Dan Quinn will have to continue being the defensive coordinator. And you bring this, they don't have, if you bring in somebody like Myles Garrett, he's a wrecking crew. He is a total wrecking crew. Did you see what he did against the Ravens this past Sunday? He's an unbelievable wrecking crew. And the thing is, the Commanders don't have consistent pass rush. Commanders don't have consistent cornerbacks. You got to start somewhere. And sometimes, Gary, in order to get something, you got to give something up. And again, I have to keep saying this. I like Jaden Daniels. I think he is a very, very good, a great quarterback. But what the Commanders need so many things. They are in need of so many different positions. You got to give something up in order to get something.
Yeah. But John, I think that the key word here is leverage. It's how do you leverage a trade like that? I think in Washington, because there's still so much support for Jaden Daniels as a future franchise quarterback, as it is, I think he's already the face of the franchise. John,
Yes, he is.
I think you really risk a lot trading a guy who just in one season just grabbed a whole a team and a whole fan base, and really made that team relevant again. You have your doubts about his health right now because I don't want to use the term brittle because that's really not the word I want to use.
I don't think I don't have the concern about his health, Gary, because I
I,
think the injuries he's had are freak injuries.
Yeah, but again, what have we been saying for a year and a half now about him? He's got to bulk up. He is too slender, too slight to be playing the way that he plays.
But
You
how
look at
much do you want?
Jalen Hurts is a dude. I mean, and they're still concerned about whether he takes off or not. Those
But
hits
how much do
pile
you want
up,
him to bulk up to?
and if you get a freak injury right now. Remember, he was already recovering from two other injuries. I think one was a rib injury, and I think another one was a hamstring. So then he goes and dislocates his elbow, uh, and again those injuries start to pile up. Granted, it was on his non-throwing arm, and that's the encouraging part. But there are still concerns about his health that I think you really have to you have to protect him. He's the face of your franchise. Unless Cleveland comes to you with just like this blockbuster deal, I would say not do it. Yeah, Myles Garrett would have to be part of it. But again, when you've got two teams that have bankable cornerstone players, it's about leverage. And I don't know which team could really leverage more than the other in a potential deal like this. And again, if you're Cleveland, you think, yeah, Jaden Daniels is, he could be the next coming. But look at how much money you're paying uh, Deshaun Watson, who's hurt. You trade away Joe Flacco. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Shador Sanders did not look good. I mean, yeah, he struggled on Sunday. That's a guy. I don't know why you drafted him, but yeah, you
Hence,
got him.
Gary, hence my belief that they can be, in your words, fleeced. In your words, they can be
Well,
fleeced
in Cleveland,
because
of course they can be fleeced. I mean,
because
yeah, of course.
you
I mean,
just gave
it's
you gave
Cleveland.
three
Cleveland just
examples.
makes trading away Flacco to a division rival was
Made
probably
no
one
sense.
of the dumbest trades I think I've seen since last year when the Mavericks traded Luka Doncic to the Lakers for Anthony Davis, and Anthony Davis is out, for the foreseeable future again.
Well, I think I've achieved what I wanted with you, which is you think I'm off my rocker. So that's a fair thing right here. Now,
Right now. I think you're panicking. Which
I don't. Well, I wouldn't say panicking, but what I will say is when you have a team that has had the success they had last year, and this year has the non-success you have to look at everything. You have to look at all angles,
Mhm.
and you have to be prepared. And keep in mind, like I said, I don't think I'm panicking, but you have to be able to look at everything. You have to be willing to make a move if there is a possibility to make a move. I'm not saying you do it, but I'm
Mhm.
saying you need to look at something like that.
Oh yeah, I think you look at every possibility in terms of improving your team. And John, maybe the question I have for you, where you think I'm crazy, whether you think I'm crazy, is do you sit Jaden Daniels for the rest of the year? I think you do.
I'm not. I'm still on the fence, Gary. I don't know. I'm waiting to see when he's going to come back. You know, part of me is like he could get some more reps. He has some injuries this year. He's missed quite a bit of
Okay.
time. That's part of me. The other thing is this season is shot, and I because he has had freak injuries, I don't need him to have another freak injury. Freak injuries. You break your rib falling on a football after you make a 40-plus yard run. Freak injury. You're going down and you put your arm down to catch you, and you dislocate your elbow. Freak injury. You know, you're trying to get extra yardage in the Dallas game, and you partially pull your hamstring. Freak injury. You know, like I said, man, I think this guy is a great quarterback. I think he can do a lot of not miraculous. That's not a good word. I think he can do a lot of great things. But I go back to what we said earlier, Gary. Do you need a great quarterback to win a championship? And with that great quarterback, do you have enough wherewithal to get him everything that he needs around him to
Yeah.
get close to a championship? And
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think you need to look at that. And if you're going to make a trade to get better, what's your best bargaining chip that you got?
Yeah, I mean, it's something to consider. And to your point about um, whether you need a star quarterback to win a Super Bowl, the fundamental thing is you have to have a healthy quarterback to win the Super Bowl. And in terms of, and when we were talking about average quarterbacks to win a Super Bowl, remember, Nick Foles came in and took over the Eagles. Oh gosh, I can't remember the
They beat the
quarterback who
New
went
England
to,
Patriots.
huh?
They beat the New England Patriots.
Yeah, but I'm trying to remember who his predecessor was.
Carson Wentz,
Yeah, who played in Washington. You
who
know,
hasn't been the same since.
yeah, hasn't been the same since. I mean, he was kind of like our boy who was was in St. Louis and got replaced by Kurt Warner. Kurt Warner's in the Hall of Fame, won a Super Bowl.
Trent
It's
Green.
just
Trent Green.
Yep, Trent Green. Um,
Hey, Gary, you know what, man? We just been rapping and talking.
oh
I
yeah.
need you to take us home, man.
Well, all of these things that we've talked about with college football, I think, now we're getting into the real nitty-gritty of the college football season. And it definitely bears watching to see whether Ohio State and Indiana can really sustain it. I mean, they're on a collision course to meet possibly in a in a championship game. Yeah, because I think they're in opposite divisions. I never thought I would say I want to see that one happen. I'm looking to see who comes out of the ACC. I'm looking to see who comes out of the SEC. Which of those teams. Again, Oklahoma had every chance to lose that game at Alabama, but they didn't. They won. But again, I don't think Alabama is done. And Kalen DeBoer, whereas he was on the hot seat after week one, after this, his first season, wasn't great, and then he loses in week one. I think he's gotten the program back on track. But that was a lost state that I really didn't see them coming. Oh yes, by the way, I forgot about Texas A&M, unbeaten Texas A&M
Mm-hmm.
being the being possibly the class of the SEC. And apologies to Texas A&M, especially since I watched that impressive comeback, second half comeback against South Carolina. So, John, there's just a whole lot, and I'm just going to leave it at college college football right now because I'm about to jump off here and watch some college basketball. Another thing that you watch. So, John, take us
Another
home,
great
bro.
week. Another great week in sports. Hey, watch some college football, watch some pro football, watch some college basketball, watch the men's and the women's, watch some hockey, watch some NBA. But above all else, watch some sports. Come back and see us again real soon. Take care.